Yeah, very sad. Yeah, so that would be my suggestion. Try
Beth,
and get
does that answer? Yeah, I mean, Beth, does that answer? Beth, you can go in little coin shops and places, swap meets. You can buy gold and silver here and there. You can buy it from companies like Midas. I mean, so what? So, I mean, the crooks may announce tomorrow we've all got to be drafted to fight for Emperor Bumblebee or whoever's in power then. I mean, at the end of the day, they may nuke Chicago and say the Easter Bunny did it. And I mean, there's no telling what they'll do to try to make you love them through fear. And you just got to get the word out that they're the terrorists. They staged 9/11. And if you don't do that, they're going to keep staging terror attacks. That's their. How do you deal with government staging crises or wars as a pretext to make people primitively rally around the king, New World Order person? Stefan.
Well, I think all you have to do is point out the number of times that these things have occurred before. I mean, it's well established now that the Gulf of Tonkin incident was staged and fabricated, and that started a war that killed millions of people. Everybody's completely aware about the lies about the WMDs in both the British and American press. And isn't it shocking that the news of the world is shut down because they hacked a few cell phones? The fact that they supported a war that's killed over 1 million people and driven millions more into exile, that didn't get them shut down.
Well, this is political fighting. This is Soros striking at Murdoch. You know, these globalists even get in little fights with each other.
Yeah, that's true. They're the turf wars like the 5 families in New York. They're just turf wars, and we think that it's got something to do with our freedom, but it's just them battling over our tax revenue, which is really quite sad.
Absolutely. I mean, this, well said. I'm glad you brought that up. Thank you, Beth. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. Thank you.
Thank you. And I want to just say I'm not with Stefan Molyneux. I agree that up in Michigan and in other areas where they're arresting people for growing tomatoes in their yard, I think that's reasonable. And that's what George Washington fought for. I'm not with the extremist, okay?
Right. Well, you know, he obviously cut down the cherry tree because you don't want to eat cherries. He understood that the war really needs to be against fruits and vegetables. So I think that's why he chopped down that tree, and I think we're all with him on that.
Stefan, you are really starting to get it.
I really am.
You're not an extremist now. Good.
I feel like I'm not being dragged behind the train of Alex Jones. I'm actually clambering on the caboose and starting to walk up. And that feels good.
I think you're on your own train way up ahead of me there, my friend. You can't do Darth Vader yet, but we'll get you there. Michael, in Florida, you're on the air with an evil person. Go ahead. Oh, Michelle. Michelle, I got to read that better. Michelle, welcome.
Hi, Alex. Hi, Stefan. Mine isn't so much of a question as I wanted both your thoughts on this. You've been talking about for the past few weeks a possible false flag, maybe in America or in Europe with Gaddafi. But
well, they would never do that. I mean, they shipped 30,000 guns to blame it on the Second Amendment into Mexico, and they wouldn't then perjured themselves. They would never stage a terror attack. I'm sorry, ma'am. Go ahead.
Well, that's okay. But my thought was, I know that we're the resistance and a lot of the Christian people, but they're supposed to be having this big summit in Washington, the CUFI, in July 18th through 20th, I thought. But anyway, is it too far out there to think, because Glenn Beck's supposed to be there, and you just said they're going to blame it on Glenn Beck. Do you think it's possible that they would try a false flag? I mean, with thousands of...
Well, let's not give them any idea. But, yeah, they're all scaring us about the caliphate and Muslim extremists and then publicly funding all the groups in every case and funding al-Qaeda right now against Gaddafi. I mean, I'm not saying some of these groups aren't out of control and dangerous. The point is, who fed that dog? Who trained that dog? And absolutely, false flag is the next card they're going to pull. You better believe it. You can see all the prepping and priming and Jim Jones Kool-Aid drills where they're telling us, when the terrorists attack, what do you do? Give our rights up to you. What do you do when the terrorists attack? Bend over and give you my bank account. What do you do when the terrorists attack? Let you grope our 5-year-olds. What do you do when we stage the terror attack? Worship you. You're our daddy. Thank you for the call, Michelle. I'm going to go to Brian, Sean, George Lee. The show's about to end. We'll have internet only for 5 minutes if Stefan can do it to finish those calls. Your comments on what I just said, Stefan Molyneux.
Well, you can see this happening already, Alex. I mean, they've cut hundreds of millions of dollars in military funding to Pakistan, which is going to destabilize the ruling governments. People don't understand, many people don't understand the degree to which tyrannies around the world are supported by Western money for a variety of nasty and evil reasons. So there's going to be destabilization in Pakistan, and that, of course, is going to be pretext for another intervention and more control and more growth. So you just need to be exploding this stuff ahead of time, put the predictions out there, and try and be as right as possible, and that's going to gain you credibility with anybody who's got a few brain cells left rolling around.
Well, they caught the CIA guy trying to give nuke material to al-Qaeda to then blame it on the Pakistan government publicly 2 months ago. They're not playing games. They're getting that little ledger, that history ready when they blow up Chicago. They've already bought the properties they want to blow up. Let's go ahead and talk to Brian in Wisconsin. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Hi, Alex.
Hello, sir.
Hey, just sitting here with my 14-year-old daughter, working on getting her woken up, and thanks for waking me up because I passed on the favor to a number of my friends, and they're getting the idea. But I had an idea. You were talking about Ron Paul, and I had a couple campaign slogans for Dr. Paul. You want to hear them?
Yes, tell us. The extremist, go ahead.
They're adaptations. The first one is Paul and no Fed.
Okay.
And the second one is it's the Federal Reserve, stupid.
I agree. Ooh, I'm going to do a T-shirt of that. I'm stealing that. It's the Federal Reserve, stupid. Beautiful.
All right, glad you like it. And, you know, if he would just get up there while he's got a platform on the debates, and just start saying to the American people, did you know that the Federal Reserve is owned by Rockefeller, Rothschild, Warburg?
No, I agree. Ron Paul's great, but if he got a lot more hardcore, then that would have a bigger effect. And maybe we can give Ron Paul some Red Bull before he gets up there.
Yeah. Hey, just want to say...
Maybe we can waterboard Ron Paul with coffee. Starbucks coffee. No, the guy's 75 years old, works all day long, and he's a gentleman. And listen, I got to go. Stefan Molyneux, the main radio show's over, but I'm going to do 5 more minutes into Overdrive, Internet only, at Infowars.com to talk to Sean, George, and Lee. Quick questions for Stefan Molyneux. I'm Alex Jones. We'll see you back tomorrow, 11 a.m. Central. Spread the word, evil people. Don't forget, folks, to get our article at Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. Obama is establishing an executive dictatorship. This is really happening. It's all the proofs there. We're searching the term Obama dictatorship to try to make it #1 on Google. Going back to Stefan Molyneux, we only got 5 minutes left right now. Let's talk to Sean in Wyoming. Sean, go ahead.
Thank you, Alex. I just want to say thank you for waking me up. I'm honored to be on your show. And I speak for the majority of the American people when I say we're sick of it. I'm tired of this.
Ah!
Testify, brother.
Everything that is controlled. I mean, let me give you a little background on myself. I'm going to college this fall to be a personal trainer / physical education teacher, and I've been trying to get food that is good for me, and it's not nowhere to be found.
Not Al-Qaeda tomatoes.
Oh yeah, the farms around America it has been.
Stefan, we got another one of these people doesn't want to eat GMO.
Yep,
yeah,
I don't want to eat GMO. I don't want to eat none of that. I shop at National Grocers. They claim to be grass-fed beef. I don't even know if it really is.
Terrorist!
I don't give a
Okay, I appreciate your call. I understand your anger. Stefan, it's good that folks are getting angry because that's the first step in getting woken up.
Absolutely. You know, the fight or flight mechanism, if we can tamp down the flight and focus on the fight, I think that's a good use of adrenaline these days.
Well done, Lord Molyneux. Let's go ahead and talk to George in Connecticut. You're on the air, my friend.
Good to speak to you again. I heard some people talking over on a Sunday show on WABC in New York area coming into my state, Connecticut. And I couldn't believe it. It almost sounded like your hardcore show. I mean, you're bleeding over to a lot of different networks. You're beating their tail off. Now they can no longer keep it quiet. You
know, I think it's more than that. People have been managed in the narrative of the little tight left-right box that the social engineers like Curl Quigley wrote about. Once I don't show people the truth, I show folks there's a bigger world and get them to take their own blinders off, and then they see it. Stefan, comments.
Well, if you put something in someone's food that continually makes them fat, you know, like corn syrup or whatever, this sort of stuff, then they may not believe you for a while because it's like, oh, this tastes good, I like it. But eventually, when they look down and they can't see, let's say, their toes, for want of a better word, if they look down and they can't see their toes because their gut is so big, at that point, they may believe you. Because if you don't believe the reason and the arguments and the evidence ahead of time, you then have to accept the evidence after the fact. And the fact that the system is breaking down so badly is proof that it's immoral at its core. And so people who didn't accept the moral arguments now are seeing the terrible effects of violence. And that's, I think, enough to shore up our moral arguments.
I want to get one last caller in. But, George, what were they talking about on WABC?
Oh, they were talking everything from the Federal Reserve to the way of being raped and how they're going to be raping Social Security. I heard it on several different shows. The ABC was the biggest because they were one of the biggest networks.
No, I know. WABC. Appreciate the call. Let's talk to Lee in Minnesota. You'll be our tail gunner with Stefan Molyneux today. Go ahead, hit us and hit us hard.
Alex, Stephen, I would like to ask both of you quickly today, and maybe you could get into this more, Alex, tomorrow or the next day, about particularly what they're talking about with the 14th Amendment, because I believe, Stephen, that
Stefan,
things are already dead, and that they will invoke this clause, from 1868.
Yeah, I saw this weird, creepy, he's going to be like Abraham Lincoln, you watch stuff, even in the campaign, and they're now trying to invoke it. I appreciate your call. Stefan Molyneux, what do you think of that?
Okay, remind me about the 14th Amendment.
Well, I mean, they're now announcing the president can basically be a dictator.
Oh, yeah, but what do you mean can be a dictator? He's already been a dictator for quite some time. I mean, there was somebody who asked Nancy Pelosi, some reporter asked Nancy Pelosi prior to Obamacare, he said, what aspect of the Constitution allows the federal government to mandate health insurance for Americans? And she just looked at him like he was speaking Martian out of his armpit, because it's like, what on earth would the Constitution have to do with anything?
We're out of time, Stefan, but I want to go out here with you with a war growl. Let's stop the flight. Let's get the fight going. Do it with me on 3. 1, 2, 3. Ah! Cut back to him, yeah. Well, let's give us another one. I want to see you. Ah! Come on, Stefan. Wake up, folks. Wake up, fight back. See you back tomorrow live. Spread the word about the transmission. Thank you, Stefan. Great job. Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.